Good day. Today we're going to start our class talking about pronouns. A pronoun is the word that takes the place of a noun. We use different pronouns depending on who is talking or who are we talking about. There are different pronouns in the English language. We have first person, second person, third person, and we have singular or plural. So for the first person, the pronoun is I. For the second person, the pronoun is you. For the third person, we have different pronouns, depending if it's a male, female, or a thing. So the third person male is he. The third person female is she. And the third thing, we would use it. In the plural form, we use for the first person the pronoun we. For the second person, you. And for the third person and thing, they. We use different pronouns and we combine them with the verbs. So today we're going to start talking about the verb to be. The verb to be is a very basic verb that we need to learn in English. It's a verb that describes something or someone. It can be used to talk about names, age, feelings, nationalities, phone numbers, email address, and professions. The verb to be is an irregular verb. So we need to learn what pronouns or what nouns we use with each form of the verb to be. So there are three forms of the verb to be. We have am, are, and is. Now we're going to combine the verb to be using it with the pronouns that we saw previously. We're going to see it in the singular and the plural form. So for the first person, we would use I am. For the second person, you are. For the third person, male, he is. For the third person, female, she is. For the third thing, it is. In the plural form, we would use for the first person, we are. Second person, you are. Third person and thing, they are. Now, let's see some examples of how to replace a noun with the pronoun and how to combine it with the correct form of the verb to be. Let's start with the first one. So I have Andrea is a teacher. We would need to take off Andrea, so that's why you see a red line over my name, and then we would replace it with I, she, or you. So I am a teacher if I'm talking about myself. If someone is talking about me, they can say she is a teacher. And if you are talking to me, you can say you are a teacher. Our next example says Jose is a student. So we would replace Jose with I, he, or you. If you are Jose, you can say I am a student. If we are talking about Jose, we would say he is a student. And if we're talking to Jose, we would say you are a student. Then we have Colegio Vida Esperanza is a school. We would take the complete name, that is our noun in this sentence, and we will replace it with it. It is a school. Then let's use it in the plural form. So we have Jose, Carlos, and Andrea are in English class. We would cross off the three names and we could replace it with we are in English class. Our next example says Jose, Carlos, and Andrea are in English class. Jose, Carlos, and Andrea is a plural form, so we're talking about three people. So we would take off those nouns and we would either replace it by we, they, or you. We would use we are in English class if I'm talking about myself and Jose and Carlos. If I'm talking about someone else, I would say they are in English class. And if I'm talking about you in your English class, I can say you are in English class. So we've seen the examples of how we can replace the noun with the pronoun and how to combine it with the correct form of the verb to be. It all depends on who is talking or who are we talking about. Just to have this topic clear, we will see another couple of examples in the next chart. So if I have Andrea is happy, I can replace it for I am happy. Estela is my best friend. I can say she is my best friend. My brother is sick. I would replace the noun brother by saying he is sick. My house is beautiful. I would replace it with the pronoun it is beautiful. Dan and I are in class. I can say we are in class. Arturo and Andrea are in love. I can say they are in love. The pizza is delicious. I can say it is delicious. So we've seen the pronouns and how to use the verb to be. Our next topic is going to be possessive adjectives. A possessive adjective, what it gives us the meaning of what owns it or who owns it. A possessive adjective is the word that shows who or what owns it, shows possession or ownership. The possessive adjective must be followed with either a singular or a plural noun. So now we're going to see how we combine the pronouns with the possessive adjectives. This is the same way we did the verb to be, and we would use singular pronouns and plural pronouns. So for the possessive adjectives in singular form, for the first person, when I'm using the pronoun I, the possessive adjective is my or mine. For the second person, you, the possessive adjective would be your. For the third person male, it would be his. For the third person female, it would be her. And for the third thing, it would be its. In the plural form, for the first person, we would use the possessive adjective our. And for the second person, you, we would use your. For third person and thing, when it's a plural pronoun, we would use their. Let's see some examples of how we can use the pronoun with the correct possessive adjective. Let's see the following chart where we have our pronoun would be our first person, and I would say, for example, my computer. In the second person, I would say your cell phone. In the third person male, his dog. In the third person female, her car. In the third thing, I can say its food. In the plural possessive adjectives, I would use, for the first person, our class, for the second person, your books, and for the third person and thing, their toy. So as you may see from all these examples, we have our possessive adjective, and then it must be followed with a noun. The noun can be either singular or plural. So now, can you guys give us some examples of how to use the possessive adjective using a correct noun, either in singular or plural form? If you notice, we had the possessive adjective and then it was followed by the noun. The noun has to be either singular or plural. So I can say it is your pen, or I can say it is your pens, if we're talking about a couple of pens to write with. So the possessive adjectives always has to be followed by a noun. Today we talked about a couple of topics. We talked about the pronouns, the verb to be, and the possessive adjectives. Starting with the pronouns, we have to take into account who is talking to use the correct pronoun. We have to be careful in using he or she. This is a very common mistake in English, and maybe we're talking about a girl, but we say he is a student when we're trying to say she is a student. So we have to be careful when using pronouns to use the correct one. We also saw the verb to be. We have am, are, and is. And according to the pronoun, we would use either one of these. We also talked about possessive adjectives. The possessive adjectives are determined by our pronoun. So if I'm talking about things that I own, I would say my or mine. But if I'm talking about what you own, I would say your books, your desks, your classroom.